Yeah, and let's just spend a minute or two on this, and then
We are live
maybe
now.
take up the cars.
All
Hey,
right.
welcome in, everybody.
Sorry, John.
Hello.
Hey, everyone. Hold on. Let me make sure that we are all set up here. And there we are. Cool.
All right.
All right. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome
We're here.
in, everybody. Jed Hathaway here, Plague Puppets, here with Massimo and John as we're recapping some of the work we did the last couple days from the scene, the opening scene for the Plague Puppets pilot. Many of you may have seen in our last episode us building out the set and placing in some puppets, doing a little bit of art direction, and sketching this opening scene. And so we'll just sort of catch you up from where we left off last Friday. Continuing to upgrade the models and import some assets. So we replaced the automobiles here. We're still going to be working on
John.
textures
John.
and colors and things like that.
John, don't show your Discord.
Oh, yeah,
John,
sure.
you're sharing the screen right now. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, so it was a lot of fun to just dive back in here. Again, updated the cars a little bit, added in some more street lamps, a couple houses, just trying to upgrade this scene. John, if you want to maybe go to some of the car shots and go in camera, we can just sort of show what the updates of those models, helped us sort of figure out with our street scene. We moved some of these cars around just for blocking. Again, we'll get into texturing and colors with the different cars, but at least have a little bit something better than our big green blocks that we had last time. We've got some headlights going, which is nice.
Those are definitely old cars, huh?
Yeah,
Classics.
so we'll look at some different styles and talk about what we want to do there, but we wanted something that at least represented a car more than the blocks. And again, this is sort of like a stunt scene in a sense. If you work in live action and work with the stunt crew, with the drivers, right? So we have to figure out how many cars we have, what speed they're going, and sort of map out the timing of the shot. We have a couple different shots, the intro shot with the car going by, and then we have Enid running out in the street with the cars going by. So this is kind of just a lineup for our stunt drivers to be placed and ready to go. So again, sort of approaching it from a live action standpoint.
Those look pretty cool.
And again, we'll replace those homes. Those are placeholders right now for the Victorian houses across the street, but we just wanted to get the basic sizing down and spacing relevant to the street and the puppet.
How detailed are those models, John? Can you go inside? Do they have the inside detail too?
Yeah. Yeah. There we go.
Wow, pretty cool.
Can you turn on the radio?
Yeah.
Oh wow, look, there is even a little bit of a chassis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and so we'll get into the animation of rotating the wheels and all that stuff. We may have some brights. Maybe they hit their brights. The cars may swerve a little bit. So once we get into the animation, the cars will really act like characters and come to life as, they hone in on cruising by Enid. And so, there they go. They speed off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we have these two getting ready to go. Once Enid runs out into the street, we'll see these two cars cruise by. And so again, just setting the stage. There she goes. Gets out to the street, and here comes our cars.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's just figuring out the timing and blocking of the cars. And, you know, that ends up going into our shots. John, if you want to, if you can go to camera mode,
Definitely.
and just sort of play through that sequence. We have our opening shot here, that first car speeding by. Reveal of Enid and the Orphanarium. A little overhead to present some danger. Little hurdle she has to jump over, take a risk, leap of faith. And now we'll jump into this. We did build out Preston and Franklin's point of view. We'll show you that next. But then there you see the two cars scream by. So John, if you want to go to that horizon shot,
Yeah.
of those two cars going by, you know, we blocked it out in the earlier episode. We showed you guys last week of the two blocks with some generic headlights on them. But here we were able to import these models, check out the scale of them a little bit more. And yeah, there's just that moment right there where she gets spun around. And we'll see the tail lights. So we have oncoming danger, headlights on the left, outgoing danger, tail lights on the right. I think that'll create a nice little cut.
Nice.
Yeah, then observing this the whole time, we have our resident puppets, Preston and Franklin. And they're upstairs in the window here looking out overhead from the third story up in the rumpus room and having some commentary about Enid running out into the road. And so if you want to jump to that level, John,
Yeah.
we could just sort of show, I think this will be interesting to see how we built out a secondary set that will ultimately be comped in as we have green screen here. We have Preston on the left, Franklin on the right. These are just stand-in puppets right now for sizing. And we'll upgrade those as we go and design those hero characters. But wanted to just get them like up in the nice windowsill. It relates back a little bit to our NFT, the windowsill NFT in Mopib's parlor with the sewing machine, blowing kiss. And yeah, so we wanted to just sort of recreate that environment of being up on that third story of the Orphanarium looking down out the window. And so we just built a simple set piece and green screened it and matched up the camera angles for our overhead shot of Enid.
Mm-hmm.
And we did a composition of that I can show in a bit. But yeah, it's fun to marry two different environments together, interior, exterior.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And here's the.
This is the actual shot, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so what we'll do here is we'll be focused on Enid running across the street in focus. We'll rack focus as camera pulls back through the window pane. We'll have some beads of rain dripping down to show the exterior environment and weather. And then reveal Preston and Franklin, our hosts. And they'll have a bit of fun dialogue as they watch Enid go for it.
Yeah. Should I show the full composited shot of it?
Yeah, if you'd like, if you have it available. Yeah. Otherwise, I could share on the.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Okay. There it is.
Nice. I guess we're
So
going.
again, there'll be more parallax here with the background. So right now the background is married to the foreground just as far as spatial relationship. But eventually there'll be some parallax there, so we create depth, and that's what we're able to do in After Effects to build out planes, almost like an old video game. We have foreground, middle ground, background. And so in After Effects, we'll be able to create that effect a little bit more. We'll be able to rack focus, whether we do that in camera or in post, to be determined.
Right.
But there's two, couple different ways we could do that. We could do it in Unreal with both shots and rack out of shot 1 the background plate and rack into shot 2 the foreground plate of the characters. The tricky thing with doing it in camera is because we're marrying from background to foreground, getting that timing right can be a little tricky. So we may end up doing that in After Effects, where essentially we have 3 layers. We'll have the background layer animation plate of Enid running across the road. We'll have a secondary midground plate of the glass with the rain, and then the tertiary, foreground element of Preston and Franklin in the windowsill. And then we can rack focus through those 3 different planes in After Effects and post-production, as opposed to doing it all in camera.
I see. So the window pane is gonna be done in After Effects, do you think?
Well,
Yeah,
it may be, I don't know, John can speak to it better. It can either all be After Effects, or it could still be generated in Unreal as a 3D element, but then still manipulated in After Effects. But John, you probably have a better beat on how to do that.
I think that's my thinking of how we'll do it is that we'll actually create the glass in Unreal as a separate object, and then combine them all, composite all 3 of them in After Effects.
Yeah, so they would all be 3D generated in Unreal, but as separate components.
Well, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because the composite. I wonder how that will work, right? Because you cannot import the window pane as. You will have to import the window pane as a 3D object because some lighting effects need to happen in there, right? The light will have to go through the glass and the drops. So
and I think that'll all be done in Unreal. It'll just be what we're able to do is export them into separate layers, just so that then we can manipulate the. It's more about the rack focus. Otherwise, this could be, this could all be built and composited together in Unreal, but it gives us more freedom with the timing of everything to be able to, since they're on different levels, marry those together, in After Effects.
It'd be interesting.
Really cool shot. We have some moonlight overhead. The puppets, Preston and Franklin will be looking down at the street a little bit more. So this first reveal or introduction to them will be, somewhat out of focus, blurry in the foreground, left and right. We see some different hats, different styles of what these puppets are, since Enid's the only one we've seen at this point. So that'll be cool with those designs of those characters. And then as we pull back, they turn to each other with their dialogue, and that's when the moonlight will hit their face a little bit more and get a reveal on those characters.
It looks gorgeous. I like it.
Yeah, we'll probably slow it down a little bit too, but this is just a first pass at figuring out the story.
Cool.
And so that takes us, the end of this sequence here, the opening sequence. We still have one more shot that we haven't started building yet of Enid running off into the Orphanarium, introducing the letter that you will find out a little bit more what that means and how that takes place in the storytelling of this. But from there, we cut to our title sequence. And this is going to be a fun journey to follow Enid. And in the future, oh, hey there, Peppers. There's my cat, Peppers. She likes to be my little helper, don't you? Okay.
Hey, do we want to show a preview of the sequence before we start discussing it? From your your stream?
Sure. We can watch the animatic of it.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna switch to your screen, Jed. Make sure you don't have anything open.
Yep.
Just there you go. Here, we're watching your screen.
Okay, great. So let me start from the beginning here. So basically, as we work through all these different previs shots and upgrade, some of the models and camera moves and lighting and things like that, as we kind of plug along in Unreal, I'll take renders from John. He'll send me renders that I can plug into the original Animatic. I'll bring up the most recent, but this started as a very rudimentary Photoshop sketch that I did. And as we keep rendering these shots and improving on things, we'll update them. So I'll just play through the latest here. Again, our opening shots, Enid chasing the cars right and left. Here's our hero PFP. Music will start building, a little tension. Go to our POV from the Orphanarium, Preston and Franklin. A little dialogue. Cars cruise by, Enid gets all wet, comes back to the Orphanarium. This is the shot that I was mentioning earlier that we haven't built out yet, but this is essentially as Enid is now defeated and stumbles back to the Orphanarium all wet and soggy. We'll get a little bit more dialogue here of Preston and Franklin to have a button on the end of the scene. Again, just to sort of be part of the user experience of viewers following along. They kind of give us the voice of that narrative.
Hey, sorry, quick question. Sorry to interrupt. Where does she shakes her head? Where do we do the shaking? Right after the cars?
Yeah, that's going to be in this. Yeah, so after we get this nice wide shot and see the car on the left and the car on the right, she'll spin around, and that's when we cut to this close-up, and then she'll shake her head, sort of like a wet dog, and we'll see the car drive off, and then maybe have a little bit of line of dialogue there where she's, something funny and cute, but says,
cool.
Okay, time to head inside.
Nice.
So then I just thought it'd be fun to be able to cut back to Preston and Franklin as she approaches so that they could, because they're such great characters and they're very good observers. A lot of the storytelling within Puppet Radio, the podcast that Julie and Colby do, if you haven't seen that, check that out on Spotify, I believe Apple Music. But Puppet Talk is the introduction to the Orphanarium, and Preston and Franklin are the hosts of that show. And they have a lot of great dialogue, and they're very observant and tell fun stories on adventures they go on and dreams they go into, and they're very imaginative characters, but also very observant. So I thought it'd be fun before we pop inside to get a little bit more personality out of them as we see struggle.
Nice.
Struggle back to the Orphanarium.
Good idea. So she comes back and then we go to the front. We are not going to disclose the letter plot at this point, right?
Yeah, we'll leave that for another episode, but essentially a little, what could be a red herring or not. We have this little letter that floats down, and we'll see what that's all about later. And then, so this is us cutting into the title sequence, and this is something that we'll be able to utilize in future episodes or within a feature film or series. And what we can do is showcase different elements of the Orphanarium from assets that we already shot. We have a lot of good imagery from the stop motion shoot that we did down at Ancient Order in Glendale, California. Ancient Order is a company I work with a lot. They do a lot of stop motion work, and this is where we built out the set for the Orphanarium and the website. So we have a lot of those assets that we can use. In the meantime, John's built out some 3D elements that we can composite in front. So, for example, this sewing machine here, but we'll go through these various title cards, TBD. And what we're doing here is following along the journey of Enid coming into the Orphanarium and going into the Dumbwaiter. The Dumbwaiter is a fun little prop that the puppets use to sneak in and out of the house. Whether Mob Peeps knows it or not, TBD. but they probably eat some crumbs in there and make a mess of the dishes that may be left over. But they also use this as some sort of a escape route to be able to come in and out of the orphanarium. So we just want to show the journey of Enid getting to the top floor as she arrives at the end of the title sequence.
Jed, may I make a recommendation? Can
to
you
the
let it
rumpus
play
room.
so that we see a little bit? Because this is a beautiful sequence. I love it. Just let it play instead of scrubbing.
Yeah, let me go back to the beginning here.
Yeah. Cool. So she comes back. Nice. Title, The Plague Puppets. Beautiful. And then she's into the... Nice. So cool. Uh-oh. John, are you there?
Yes.
I think we lost Jed.
Oh.
Uh-oh. Jed, we lost you. Jed, see if you can log back in.
We can.
Here, maybe.
We could
Let me.
show the.
Here, I'll text him. I'll text him.
Okay, cool.
And maybe we can go back to your screen while we wait for him.
Yeah, that sounds good. I can take us through the
Yeah, take them through the.
dumbwaiter scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is the Dumbwaiter level. I really like the title sequence. It's so cool.
Yeah, definitely.
And then.
Yeah, and then we're still working on the hallway design. Obviously.
Yeah.
It's pretty sketchy still, but.
So at this point, she's gonna be wet, coming up, all sad through the dumbwaiter, and
Yeah.
Dumbwaiter opens up to the rumpus room, where she's gonna be met by Preston and Franklin, right? Hey, Jen.
Hey guys, sorry about that.
It's okay.
No worries.
Did you lose connection, or is your computer toast?
Yeah, internet's down, so I'm just on my phone. Let me just switch over. And I'll be on screen in a second. Okay. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Cats are running amok. Okay.
So yeah, we went through the
so the
sequence a little bit
dumbwaiters-
here.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so the Dumbwaiter sequence is just, again, a fun journey to see Enid arrive in the third floor, go into the rumpus room. And here's a fun opportunity where in the future we could swap out this puppet for some unique puppets or MPP puppets, things like that, or whoever the main character might be for that given episode. So it's something that can evolve as a title sequence as we move forward. And before I got disconnected, sorry about that, was looking at those background plates that we have in that title sequence. And right now we're using the iMaker's room which is important to the lore and story behind the puppets coming to life. And we have a lot of those assets, again, from that stop motion shoot that we can use throughout this intro to switch it up and keep it fresh each episode.
Nice.
So yeah, John, so then after this, then we just have the reveal of the Dumbwaiter doors opening. She's arrived. We'll do the main titles right there, a nice music sting, and then we'll see Enid jump out of the Dumbwaiter onto the floor and run towards camera and run off to her adventure. And I think a lot of sound design, as we work with Colby here, our sound designer and sound engineer on the podcast, we'll be able to create just some good ambiance for this travel scene. And I think that we'll hear a little bit of the sewing machine. We'll hear some typing. We know Ma Pube's typewriter that the puppets use to translate her letters. That's something we want to introduce, and just some of those like old school mechanics that are a lot of fun. So whether it be the winch rolling, a rope on a winch at the top of the dumbwaiter, combine that with sounds of the typewriter, typing out the titles, and then hearing the sewing machine in the background, it'll create an audible experience to let you know the environment that you're going into.
Very cool. I totally see it. It's beautiful. So are we moving the wall in the back there, John?
Yeah. So to demonstrate what we're doing, the elevator's not actually moving. We have this huge. Okay, let me go to the beginning of it. We have this huge wall. That just right here.
Yeah.
That we just animate up and down. Just it goes down and this goes up.
Very cool.
It's very much a stop motion technique with animation. And again, we're always kind of approaching it that way, just from my experience, but John understands the way that we can build these environments. So essentially, like with the HDRI, it looks like we're on a stage, we have a tabletop, we have moving parts, and right now it's just building blocks, right? So, if you're on stage, you grab a piece of foam core or cardboard and some tape, and you just start cutting out stuff, taping it together, and you mock up something and say, okay, here's how big the hallway should be, how long it is, how tall are the walls, what are we seeing, what are we not seeing? And we just kind of sketch it in with some like rudimentary planes right now. Even things like the set dressing, I just put in 2 radiators and 2 sconces. So I had some architectural elements that gave me some frame of reference to the spacing in that set. And those may change or swap out. But it just helps you kind of sketch it in and see what we're going to need to build at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Totally.
Cool.
Yeah, and then we have the doors. Since we're shooting from both sides of the doors, different parts of the wall is visible in certain shots, and certain parts it's not. So like here, she's in the door, but the camera's on the other side. So we had to get rid of it, and then
when we shoot it from another angle.
This shot, from this shot, the door's there, but like this.
Yeah.
This is gone. So
Yeah.
all fixed.
Nice. It's all made up.
Yep.
So cool.
Yeah, and we'll swap out the wallpaper. We might put in some paintings. Again, we're just using some of the assets that we have from, some of you might recognize the wainscoting on the wallpaper from the Halloween scene, our NFT, or the zombie NFT, one of our very first. So we're just using those elements for right now as placeholders, and they may stick, or we may embellish them and change up the color. But it's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the HDRI, that this thing is an HDRI, which is used to light the scene, which, we'll end up, having probably a fairly complex lighting rig in the end with this, but the lights end up using up a lot of the CPU. So while we're sketching, it's great to use an HDRI because then we have a few lights still, but it doesn't take up much bandwidth, which is nice while we're just sketching things out.
Makes sense.
So,
yeah. Yeah, so hopefully outside of the ending shot in the intro approaching the Orphanarium, we've pretty much sketched out everything. We know the production challenges, we know the assets we need. We have basic blocking and timing and camera down. And that'll take us into Act 2 in the Plague Puppets pilot as we go into Preston's variety show and start introducing the characters and getting into a little bit more of the story. That'll be really exciting and take it from there. That'll be our next.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I think we lost Chad again. We need to get him on a better internet connection.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I think we were done mostly.
Yeah.
Let's, this is amazing progress, right? You're happy with the progress?
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And, maybe the next show is going to be on Unreal 5. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe we can also show some of the challenges of converting the project to Unreal 5.
Yeah, true. There's actually there's some information on it online, but not a ton, so it'd be cool.
Cool.
Did you lose me, guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
It's all
Can
right.
you see my video though? No?
All right. Well, amazing work, and we'll see you. I think this week we're gonna do it on Thursday again, and but then probably the cadence is gonna be Tuesday and Fridays at around 1:30 p.m. Pacific. So, right?
Yep.
Looking forward to seeing everyone back.
Yeah, we'll be back on Thursday.
Yeah. All right. I thank you, everyone, and goodbye.